Anyway, Daniel Turner, not one to pontificate, just spell out the numbers, what they are, the Power of the Future founder and CEO. Daniel, it kills me that you were right about every curve here in the energy story, and more curves, more increases to come. I mean, I believe for 30 out of the last 31 days, gas prices have been hitting records, diesel prices hitting records. Actually extends to the whole energy sector. How long does this go on?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and I wish I weren't right? I don't want to be right. I want prices to be back to normal. I'm concerned that we're getting so accustomed to oil and triple-digit numbers that even if it dropped $20, the Biden administration would count that as a win, but $100 a barrel oil is still exorbitantly high. I don't see any relief in sight, because if you look at this industry, the only thing that's going to bring down numbers is more domestic drilling. And despite this record high price of 120 is roughly where we are right now, why would you invest in this industry? You have the Secretary of the Interior coming after you, the Secretary of Energy coming after you, Biden, John Kerry, Gina McCarthy in the White House, agencies like the FERC and Chairman Richard Glick are coming after you. So you add the entire Biden administration, the regulatory climate they have created. Why would you invest? Your investment, and to invest in oil, you're talking about $40-50 million investments to start drilling. That money is well spent other places. And I wish that were not the case, right? It has nothing to do with patriotism. It has nothing to do with loving the country, or it has everything to do with dollars and cents. And there is no reason to invest in an industry if you know the government is going to punish you every step of the way. And that's not changing anytime soon.
You mentioned the president, Daniel, and some flashes are coming across the wires. Now he's responding to this latest inflationary data. He has saying that oil and gas and refining industry should not, and I'm quoting here, use the challenge created by the war in Ukraine as a reason to make things worse for families with excessive profit taking or price hikes. There's been no proof of, gouging going on, or them trying to force prices up. And I know they've looked into this historically under Democratic or Republican presidents over the last 40 or so years, at least a dozen times, and have never found that to be the case. Yet it always comes up when we see something like this. What do you make of it?
It does. And look, if we could just separate ourselves, which I know is impossible to do, let's just separate ourselves from pure partisan rhetoric and who was president when and where. But if we just go back to the year 2018, regardless of who's president, if we go back to that year, ask objectively, why did this industry invest hundreds of billions of dollars in development, in exploratory wells, in refining, when oil averaged $70, $75, $60 at one point a barrel? Why were they investing so much more when oil was half the price than it is now? And it has everything to do with the climate, not climate change, the environmental climate, the regulatory climate, the financial climate. And the markets knew, look, this is a 2, 3, 4, 5 year good investment. But the markets know right now, don't invest, because the entire climate is created by the Biden administration, created by what they are doing with the SEC, what they are doing with FERC. The climate says don't invest. And so it's just a very simple cause and effect. And markets are responding in kind.
Yeah, and they're not too kind, are they? Daniel Turner, thank you very, very much. One of the things you talk about when you see sell-offs like this, how much it feeds fear, and sometimes they dovetail one another, whether the fear is justified or not. Certainly not minimizing what you're seeing on your screen right now, but a consumer sentiment number out of the University of Michigan showed that sentiment had dropped to 50.2 from 58.2 in May. That is about a 40-year low in that. Retail inflation, about a 40-year low in that. The cost of living adjustment pegged for Social Security at about 8.6%, about a 40-year potential high in that. Meat prices, about a 41-year high there. Gas prices, 40 years. What is it about the 40, 41 years? That's what fuels this argument, no pun intended, that we're reliving bad times, even though I want to stress here, very, very different times, extremely different times. We'll spell that out after this.